All right, here we are. We're live. I think I'm not live. It freaks me out, but I'm live. There's 0 viewers. Awesome. I'm gonna pour coffee. Maybe people will pop in. Awesome, cool. Okay, well, I'm just gonna get started, and we're going to do some cool things. So today, I'm hopefully going to convert a shortcode into a custom block. That's the plan. So let's look at a shortcode. First of all, I want to thank. I'm going to say his name wrong, but I think it's Paul for suggesting this topic. It's a great topic. There's a lot of I think there's a lot of plugin developers and theme developers out there that create shortcodes, and then now they have these shortcodes in the wild, and how do we turn them into a block that's usable but still maintain sort of backwards compatibility for existing shortcode, all that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do here, and I apologize if I said your name. I'll learn that for the next time. Cool. So I have this shortcode that I wrote up yesterday. It's pretty straightforward. So I'll go through my scaffolding again. Here I'm using local by Flywheel. I just have like a standard setup, nothing crazy going on here. It's super fast. Enjoy using it, but whatever you use is okay too. And then I'm using VS Code and also all kinds of fun stuff. So in my shortcode plugin, I've got pretty standard plugin setup. Just defining some constants here for ease of use later on, and then I am importing a file that's sitting inside includes for short that has all our shortcode goodness in it. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. It's basically a shortcode that will render photos from pixum.photos and random photos, and you can put a title up here, and I've added some CSS just to kind of do this sort of stuff, just so we have some CSS, but the photos are random. Like I said, it does accept some attributes, so I can say photos. I can say I want to have 12 photos. Save that. Refresh it. You see we've got now 12 photos. We can do a title. My great shortcode. Say that. See, so the random shortcode, and then the other thing that we can do is there's actually an align option. And the align option will handle things if you want it to be wide. That'll work. It'll go wide. It will do basically the same alignments that are available via the excuse me, that you would get in the block editor. Anyway, so this is the full alignment, and then there's like left. Just doesn't really do much in this case. It's kind of an odd one to use, and then of course right, show it for the sake of. And so that's what we have going on. So oh, hello to everyone who's here. Hello Florida Coder Man, nice to have you. Cool. So yeah, so that's the shortcode. Pretty straightforward stuff. So the idea behind the request was I still want to use the shortcode, but I don't want to use the shortcode block, which is what this is. So we're going to build a block that can handle this shortcode but allow us to have some controls and a bit more coolness in the back end here. I guess if we're going to be doing this, we should probably figure out what how we want to approach it, because I think if you're creating a new block, let's take this plugin as example, and if there's a brand new plugin that I was releasing out into the world, then that would be, I could build it without really being worried about backwards compatibility if I had already released this plugin and people were using all this all these shortcodes in a shortcode block. probably going to want to make sure that we maintain the shortcode functionality. So yeah, okay, so enough of my rambling. I'm just going to get into it. So first thing that we're going to want to do is let's look at the code here. So we are going to build a block. So we need to build. We're going to need a build process. So I'm going to use the WordPress scripts package. I'm just going to cd into the Shortcode plugin directory. Oh, sorry. Plugins, Shortcode plugin. I'm just going to do an npm init. I'm not spelling it right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to keep all the defaults for now. We have that. I'm going to install my scripts package, which is right here. And package that WordPress scripts. So you can just run that. And that will install that. Looks like it's just you and me, Florida coder man. Thank you for being here. Do me, you're the one. So while that builds out, some more things that we can do here is what we're waiting for that to build is, so when we use scripts, the scripts package is going to it's going to look for its entry point in a folder called source, which is totally fine. So we could add a source directory in here, and then the package would look in there for an index.js file, and it would compile. But I don't like to do that. I like to keep my blocks inside the includes directory. Now this is just how I like to work. It doesn't mean that it's right. But what I tend to do is I'll have like block editor, editor, and then inside of that I'll do a blocks directory. Then inside of that I'll do a block a directory for each block. That may seem like overkill, but the intent there is that block editor also has filters. It also has slots. It also has other things that you can put in there. And as the Gutenberg project moves forward, it's Gutenberg is the block editor, but it's also now like full site editing, and it's also the widgets and all that stuff. So building it out with this concept of like the location is kind of how I'm leaning personally right now for this sort of stuff. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna call this I'll call this the random photos block. Random photos. And in there, right? So I'm gonna put, so in here, I'm gonna put an index.js file. so that's in here, awesome. But now how do we reconcile the scripts package that wants it to be in a source file, for a source directory to look for it here? Well, what we can do is we'll add our start script right here. So if you look in WordPress scripts, there's all these scripts that are scripts, that are built, that are available. So what you can do is pass entry points to each command. So what we can do here is we'll do start, and I will do WP scripts, 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 start, and I'm going to pass includes block editor blocks random. I got a new keyboard, so that's why I can't. Okay, so now it's going to look at that for an entry point. So let's try to run npm run start C. So it's looking for the entry point, and it looks like it's going to build it out for us. And we didn't get any problems. And now we've got a build directory that's got our index with nothing in it and asset file. So what's really cool about this is that if we decided to then do a secondary block inside of here, what we can do is just add another entry point in here. so if we were to just do this and call it other block, I think we should be able to just do this. I'm now thinking, I'm not sure how this is going to handle this, but we'll see this other. Save that. Do it. Start again. Okay. Looks like it's putting it all into. Let's see. Test. String. We'll do that. See what's in there. It's in there. Okay, cool. I wonder. So that looks like it's putting it in both. I think it's combining both. But let's do. Oh my gosh. Other tab. Let's see what that. Wonder if it's combining them. Oh cool. Okay, that's interesting to know. I think what it's doing is it's the entry point is actually the name of the file. Why is it doing? Come on. See, there we go. Start. So this is kind of not what we're doing today, but oh, wait a second. Entry one, entry. Oh, okay, the JS files need to be named differently. That's it. Okay, anyway, sorry, I'm off on a tangent here now. But I think what you'd want to do is other block.js. And I think that might give us two files. Let's check that out. Block.js, okay. Here, and then this. Now that is definitely compiling two different entry points. Looking here, the build. So okay, cool. So we do have our entry points. So this is how you can use multiple entry points to create multiple blocks with with WP scripts. So there's another way to do it if you're getting a lot more complicated. If you had like say 10, 15 blocks or something, you probably wouldn't want to do it this way. In that case, you can create your own Webpack file and then import scripts. The Webpack file from scripts, and then just put your entry points in that way. But that's a topic for another stream that I'm going to get into later. But anyways, I'm going to just delete this because tangents are taking up time, and we're gonna just get rid of this, right? Incidentally, you can also pass output. I think it's output, and you can say, like, for example, I think that's how you do. Output path, output dash path. We did this and we got rid of our build folder. This should actually put it in a dist folder. Put it into a dist directory. So you can see the scripts, the WordPress scripts package is pretty powerful. You can convert things, you can make it work however you want. But I'm just going to, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to do it this way because this is where I want that block to live, because it lives inside my mental map of how I like to put things together. Okay, anyways, so that is, so in here we have an index file. So this is going to be where we would actually register the block type. We need to import the block type from blocks. I'm going to, all right, so like to do have comments in here, word dependencies, something like that, right? In here, we're also going to need to have our an edit .js. It's just a standard sort of scaffolding stuff that we do on this. Say we're going to need to do a block.json, and then one last thing, I'm going to do a index.php file. And so so this file, this folder now contains everything to do with this block. If we had CSS, I'd probably put CSS in here as well. Yeah. So yeah, so we can start by defining our blocks. We can go API version. We're going to use version 2. And we got what is it? Name. I can never remember what it all is. I'm going to grab this block.json and steal some of this stuff. Oh, this stuff is all. So this is API version. The name of the block, I'm going to call it Twitch Streams, and then this is going to be, what do I call this thing? Random photos. Right? Random photos. Photos, and the description is a block. Short code to your photos. Cool. Version 1, category is not text. A good category for this would be, let's look. Oops. All right, what category? So let's put it in media. That seems like the one that makes sense. Media. Oops. Media. I'm going to leave the attributes out for now. I'm going to use, I'll add an example in there as well. It's always a good idea to have an example because this is what shows up top here. So when I'm looking at a block, this flyout thing, that's the example. So having one is a really good way of, it's good to have. And then we have our block supports thing, which we'll talk about in a minute. And there's a bunch more other things in here, but I don't think we need much more right now. So the one thing we do need to do is we need to have this editor script. So the editor script is going to be 1, 2, 3. Wait, what is it? So it's 1, 2, 3, and then it'll be in a build directory. And then it'll be index.js, I believe. I think I'm going to make sure it's in there, so it's in the build, and it's going to be index. Cool. I'm going to rename this to PHP. Cool. Anyways, okay, so we've got that. So no, that's not the right one. So this one, hopefully this is right. So it should be 1, 2, 3 directories up in the build directory, index.js, and then that's good to go. Okay, cool. So now next thing that we need to do is in our block.js file, we're going to actually call register block. Same as what you would do normally. So I'm just going to steal this stuff, put it in here, and this is register block type call. And I don't need this yet. Basically, what this is expecting is this. So this is the action that we're calling, and then we're adding our callback to it. So registered block type has the parameter of, takes 2 parameters. The first is the path to where the block.json is. So in this case, it's in the same directory as this PHP file. So we can just say dir. And yeah, so we can do that. Now the only other thing that we have to do is come out here to our Shortcode plugin, and then we're going to actually, we need to require once. And we'll go into, so I have a constant defined here, which is to the includes directory. So from inside the includes directory, we have block. Oops. We have block editor. Oh my gosh, editor / blocks / random photos / block.php. So this plugin should load this file. When that file loads, it'll run this init and it'll register the block for us. So let's see. Oh, you know what? That's not gonna work at all. We need to do this part still. So I'm going to import I'm going to do import JSON from block.json. I'm going to go import, oops. I'm going to go import edit from edit, import save from save. I like to add some comments here, internal dependencies. Then I'm going to call register block type. This. So I'm going to create, I'm going to go, we want the name, and then I'm going to destructure out the name and the settings and everything, and sorry, settings from JSON. So if you're not familiar with this, this is destructuring out. So this is an object. This is basically all of this stuff. So I'm going to pull the name out, and then this is called the spread operator, but it's basically indicating in this case that what we want to do is take the rest of the properties and put them in there. And in here, I'm going to pass name, and then I'm going there. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. So I'm going to pass name, and then takes an object. I'm going to say basically like that. This is going to pass the edit, the save property, and the settings. I don't think weird. Okay. Well. And so that should register the stuff for me. Actually, I don't have to const edit turn. For now, this is, and then export def, nope, alt. And then the save, it's going to do sort of the same thing. Save. This is just placeholder for now, so I can just get this thing working. Just check that it's actually registering. Cool. So now hopefully we have all this WordPress blocks. It's fine. Cool. So we'll do that. So let's see if it worked. Okay. So refresh this. I'm gonna go like this. What do I call that thing? And oh, didn't work. Let's find out. What if you only do settings without name? Oh, that's a good question. I'm assuming you'll get everything. Let's find out. Well, actually, let me make sure that this is loading first, and then because if it's not loading, it's not. So sources, content, plugins, shortcode, plugin, asset. Let's load in the CSS. Okay, so something's not right. Let's see. I have a feeling my path is slightly off, so I'm going to look in. Where's my bug log and see? Cannot delete that again and see if anything. There's script. Random photos, block definition. See. Interesting. Have I forgotten how to write? All right. How we did it on the other one. So. Okay. Getting pulled in, I don't see any console error, but I have a feeling that it's and that seemed to do it. So the build, yeah, that's literally something. Every time I build a block, doesn't matter how many blocks I built. This is a bit opaque in the sense of how I figure out where things are. So maybe that's a downside of customizing the source. But yeah, so anyways, so the problem was there I needed an extra traverse up. Anyways, okay, so we should have, oh right, sorry. So Mario, we were gonna look at what happens if you just do this. Okay, I'm just gonna console log settings, see what happens here. Am I building? I am. Okay. Cool. This. Oh, okay. Sorry. One sec. That is an error because I need to actually have your name needs to have a namespace, basically. Just gonna do. What do they call it? A prefix. I'm sorry. You need to have a prefix in your name. Huh. That didn't do anything there. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Stand by. There we go. That might do it. Let's clear that and try again. Okay, so this looks like it pulls everything. So what I did there was I console logged settings followed by JSON, and they look pretty much the same to me. So does that answer your question, Mario? It just gives you everything, which is, I don't know why you'd want to do that, but that's what it does. I mean, I guess I can see why no, I don't know why you'd want to do that. You just pass the full JSON object. Anyways. Okay, so let's see. So now I should have a random photos block. Oh, okay. Yep. Okay. Does anyone know what I did wrong? I know. I'm not using block props or use block props hook. When you define your block JSON and using API version 2, you also have to use sorry, I'm gonna close. You also have to use the use block props hook. Edit. So here, this use block props. Right. It should be say const block props props props. I don't need. Then what we'll do here is we'll spread block props. Yeah, so just ignore it. So that's, yeah, so this should, when it builds, this should go in the right spot. What's happening here right now is that if you don't have the use block props, it doesn't wrap the block in a lot of the classes and things that it needs to work properly. Like you can't select it now. I just refresh that. Say this, and then I'm just going to refresh this, and we should have it over here. There we go. So that's our block now, our random photos block. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to use an icon because I hate the look of the thing. So where is the dash icons? So let's just look at the dash icons here. Let's find something that's an image. We'll use this one. What's this one? So format image. Oh, wait, is there like a gallery? Yeah, of course there's a gallery. So what I'm going to do is in my block.json file here, I'm going to add a property for icon, and just pass the string. I don't believe you need to pass the dash icon hyphen, just the everything after that. So if I refresh this now, should get a custom icon. So now we have a icon that better represents what it does. Yeah. Cool. So anyways, okay, so now we've got a block that is doing something. If I update this, I should be able to refresh this, and you see I've got a save. I'm going to move I'm going to make the align wide there, so we can see it. So the align's up there. So here's our block doing nothing. Okay, so now we've got a functioning block. So now what do we got to do? We want to be able to manage these attributes, specifically the count, the photo count, the title, and the alignment within our block. So let's do the first two. So in our block.json, we've got attributes. We're going to want to have an attribute of photos, and this is going to be of type as a number, and we're going to give it a default of 1, not 10, 1. No, sorry. What did I do for there is a default. Let me look. And so in the shortcode, the photo is 6. So I doing a default of 6. So I put a default of 6 in there. Cool. And then the next thing is we want to be able to manage the title. Title is going to be we want to be able to handle it as well. Okay. So that's going to be of type string, and this is also going to have a default of random photos. Man, this I'm using this this thing called Git Copilot, GitHub Copilot. It's awesome. It just makes me look like I'm typing fast, but I'm not. It's fantastic. Anyways, so we have we have these two attributes now. So now we can start to manipulate them. So in the edit state. Actually, the edit state's kind of okay. What's the best way to do this? So this is getting us our edit state. So our edit state is going to represent what this thing's going to look like, right? But maybe in our save state. So because we're using a shortcode, there's kind of a couple ways that we can handle this, I think. We could turn this into a dynamic block, which basically would build out the shortcode based on the attributes and then render it in PHP at runtime. So we could pass it to do shortcode and it would do it. The alternative way to do it is we could also build it out and save it as the content of the. Okay. Actually, I don't know if we can. Because we just want to save the shortcode, and that's not valid JSX. So let's do it as a dynamic block. So to do a dynamic block, we basically don't need a save. All we need to do is have save return null, because we want to handle that on the PHP side. I'm going to ask if you were creating a block around the shortcode PHP or recreating the function entirely. Good question, Corey. I think what I'm going to do, I'm not sure if you were here at the beginning or not, but the sort of the made up situation here is I have a plugin that has an existing shortcode. So what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to have people who don't like shortcode should still work because people may have that in their content. So I think what I'm going to do is take the existing shortcode and just make it work via a block. So that's the approach here that I'm going to take. Okay, so to do that, what we're going to need to do then, okay, so there's two things that we have to do. So a static block uses the save function to basically save it to the markup. So if you don't know the difference, the way that a static block is saved in the actual markup, which I can show you real quick. No, not there. Sorry. Let's go in here. If anyone here knows how to connect like SQL Ace or SQL Pro to local by Flywheel, please let me know because I can't figure it out and it's driving me nuts. Anyways, so if you look at, like, for example, this is a dynamic block. No, it's not. I'm lying to you. This is a static block. So you see we've got so there's HTML comments that are delineating the start and the stop, and then inside of it there'll be a whatever the markup is. so for static blocks, or sorry, dynamic blocks, which I don't know if we have here. Oh, this is it here. So this is a dynamic block where all it does is save the attributes. That's, yeah, totally. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the difference. The difference being is the markup, the actual what's going to be rendered on the page is not saved in the content, which does make development a bit easier, because if you change the markup, you don't have to delete the block out. You don't get that weird error that it's not weird error, that error that Gutenberg fires when it can't parse the block properly. Anyways, okay, cool. So we really only need the save function to do this. We just need it to return null. So we don't even really need this file anymore. This is sort of how I've been doing it. It's kind of silly to have an entire file that just returns a function that is null, but anyway. So that's the first step. We now have save that doesn't actually do anything, but what we have to do now is handle it on the PHP side. So we do that by passing an array as the second parameter of a register block type, and this is the, oh my god, is it render callback? I think that's what it's called. Render callback. All right, let's take a look. I'm sure I did it. Yeah. So it's called render callback, and we pass it a function, and we're gonna just call it. I'm just gonna say render photos, random photos block. This can be whatever you want it to be. I'm gonna call it that. So function, do that, right? And then should be able, so you just need to return something. Dave, not Dave, save. Okay, cool. And that's not right. So this and this. And okay, cool. So hopefully now this should, I'm coming here. I may need to delete this one. So I'm just going to add another random photos. Cool. Edit. We're going to update. Switch this. What? What's going on? That's weird. Okay. Maybe I need to refresh. Oh, okay. So let's get that. I don't think I refreshed the page. So I'm going to do random photos. Update. It still didn't work? Invalid block content. Where are you seeing invalid block? Yeah, I think that was because I switched it to a, I'm just gonna try to rebuild this. This is fun. Random weird errors. Register block type, random photos block. Look at this other example to see what okay. Render callback. Okay. What? Yeah, I know. I like the short array syntax too, but alas, it is a thing that we have to do. Wait a minute. This is probably working, but I just have it. Yeah, okay. There we go. I'm a dope. Okay, it's totally working. So now this is being rendered on the front end, like by PHP. Isn't it showing? It's working fine. I just had it. I had the static version saying saved and the dynamic version saying saved, and so of course I wouldn't notice a difference because I'm a dope. Anyways, but that's working now. So cool. All right, so we have this. So that kind of handles that. So what we can do here, so this function actually takes 3 parameters. It gets the attributes passed to it, it gets any content that is passed to it, and then we get the whole block instance passed to it. So 95% of the time you're probably only going to use the first one. You'll use the second one if you have an inner blocks instance, for example. In that case, you you return that from your save function, and that's what gets passed in here. And then we have the block, which has got everything about the block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this is literally how I do it every time. I'm just going to var dump attributes right there and just see what we got. So this is the attributes that we have. So we have a photos, our 6 photos, and our random photos. So remember, these are the defaults, right? So the cool thing is we can just come into our shortcode now, and we basically need to grab this stuff, right? I'm gonna take this exact same approach, right? So what we're doing here is we're doing some output buffering. I start this, and then I just output whatever HTML I want, and then I just return it and go from there. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna put it in my, just say it for now. I'm gonna drop it in here, right? And so some of this stuff is not gonna work, obviously. So what I need to do is I need to get some. Need to say title equals attributes title, right? And then I need to same thing I need photos, right? That. I'm going to get rid of the classes thing for now. Actually, you know what? There is a class in there that I want to keep. I want to keep I'm just going to get rid of it for now. I'm just going to pull it out. No, I want to see it. Yeah. Anyways, okay. So that we have our title, we have our photos, and then I'm just going to pull this out for now. So hopefully, and I don't have PHPCS running on here. So if you see align a bunch of equals, it's because it's muscle memory. So look at that. So we've got a bunch of stuff in here, right? So it's actually loading the same photos, which is kind of cool. But it's clearly busted. I really want an easy way to insert inner blocks into a dynamic block. Insert inner blocks into a dynamic. Sorry, I looked into how. Well, let's talk about that, Corey. Maybe open up a there's a link to the repo for this stream series, and if you want to open up a issue there, just kind of throw your thoughts into what you're talking about here. Yeah, actually editable in the editor. Yeah, I think we can definitely do that with Gutenberg. Yeah, so just drop your thoughts in there, and maybe we can figure something out for a stream soon. Anyways, okay, cool. So now we've got this going on. So the next thing to do is we have nothing going on in the edit state here. So, excuse me. So there's a couple ways that we can approach this edit state. We need to be able to provide the following controls. We need to be able to provide a title control and a control to pick the number of images that get rendered. So, so we can do this a couple of ways. It really depends on how we're handling the edit. Making work since this just isn't a core API for making. Let's, you know what, Corey? I think we can do all the things. I think I just need to wrap my head around what you're trying to do. Sir, I was going to talk about server-side render in here, and it's definitely not the way you can use it. I wouldn't recommend you using it. It's meant, I believe it's still sort of meant as like a stopgap solution. So like this could actually be a decent case for it. No, you're fine, Corey. This could be a decent use case for it because say you didn't want to rebuild the entire edit state to match the front end, which is like probably the best user experience. So like what you're seeing is actually what you're getting. So you could use server-side render to do that. I have seen server-side render cause like you get too many connection errors, depending on how you're using it. If every time the block is selected and then unselected, it re-renders, it just gets a bit unwieldy. But anyways, so I think what we're going to do is, what I like to do is the sort of the UX approach that I take is anything that is seen kind of goes in here, and anything that is not kind of goes in here. So in this case, we're going to want to put the title in here because the title is seen at the very top, but the count, the number of posts is not seen in here. The posts themselves are, but the number is not. Like, you don't put a number in here and have that go. So we're going to put that in the sidebar. So that's my approach. So to do that, we're going to need a couple of things. We're going to need to steal some of the markup from our shortcode. So if we drop over here, we see we've got an H3. So we got a section. Now, please don't judge me on my HTML and if this is not semantic, I'd love to know. Let me know, and I'll update it. But this is kind of what I put together. So what we're going to do is we're going to rebuild our edit. So it's wrapped in a section tag. All right. We're going to have a section tag in there, and then we're going to basically follow it with an H3. I'm going to put the raw HTML in there. Sorry. H3, okay, and then so in here we get we can get our attributes out of here by calling attributes, and then set attributes, which we're going to need. I spelled that wrong. Set attributes. So I'm doing some more destructuring here. So I'm going to do title. Wow, that's really just kind of made that up, didn't it? Photo. So that's what we need to get out of there. And so in the H3, we're going to just plunk the title in. And we're not using these things. That's fine. Let's see what's going on here. So we'll get back into here. We are going to refresh the update this. We're going to refresh this page. There we go. We've got an H3 that's wrapped inside of our section stuff. It's gonna pass the block prop, so we should be able to get a bunch of classes. Yeah, and so underneath that, we are going to do, where am I here? So underneath that, we've got just a div that I dropped in there. So we're gonna put a div here, right? And then, so photos.map. Let's just see how well this works, because I'm probably gonna break something here. No, I don't want photos.map at all. I want to do a loop. So I'm gonna do each one of these. I'm just gonna plunk a bunch in. Now, it's just not right. I'm just going to hard code a bunch of this stuff. Okay, like that. What's going on? I'm sure. Okay, get rid of that. And why is this yelling at me? It's just telling me I need to have an alt prop. Okay. I'm just gonna do a couple of these. All right, so this is just how this API works, so I can get random images out of it. All right, so I'll just do more. And what we're gonna want to do is like obviously build this out so it's reflecting things. So there we go. So we got that. So our CSS is clearly not working. So I will. I'll tackle that part next, actually. So remember in our block.json, we have editor script. So we've also got editor style, and we've got style and scripts. So I'm going to put style, right? And what I want to get is from the assets /CSS. This is where my CSS is living. Example. Oh, I think this is work. We'll just see. Example. Code.css. So what this should do is it should load this file on the front end and in the admin for this block. So this is what we'll test. Oh, didn't work. Let's look. Console. I don't see any network errors. I don't see. Let's look at the sources. We're in the same situation we had before. Oh, you know why it's not working? I'll tell you why. It is loading it, but it's not working because my classes aren't. So what I want to do, add in my block, use block browser, class name. I'm going to add a custom class name. And the custom class name I'm going to add is, for example, should do it. No. So hopefully this should give me wrapping class in there around the section tag. Load, and it works. Okay, now I've loaded my CSS there. I'm going to run this. I didn't load there, and I wonder why. I think it's because I still need this block. Yeah, I need that for sure. Here we go. So yeah, so now we have it like looking the way it's supposed to look. And that's great, and it's looking the same way in Mint. Still don't have any controls, so I'm going to add some. We'll start with this thing up here. So there's a really cool thing called in here. Let's see. I think it's in Block Editor. So I'm gonna pull out two things: inspector controls. We're gonna need, and we're also gonna need the rich text component. The rich text component. If you've never used it, it's pretty cool. What it does allows you to write text. So first thing that you want to do is tell it what's a wrapping tag name. So in this case, it's going to be the H3. Okay. And then we need a value, and value is going to be title. And then we need an onChange, which is a function that handles what happens when the values change. So we're going to say, I'm going to call the value coming from, so this function gets passed a parameter. The parameter is in this case, the text from the rich text. I'm going to call it title, and I'm going to call set attributes. I'm going to do this. So, oh, yeah, really? Okay, title then. What I was wanting to do was I wanted to use property shorthand for JavaScript. So basically, if you give the property the same name as if you defined a variable and pass it as a property and just the property for the object like this, it's going to use it as both the property name and the value of the property. But we'll do it this way. So this is the new title, and it's going to set the attributes for the title, and so on and so forth. So what we'll see here is, I'm going to do this just so you can see it. PR. That's what so let's see what happens there. Okay, so this is the H3 that we output, and this is the type of the rich text. So you can see we can, and it just updates. Okay. Now the one thing it does do is it has all these formats, and depending on if you want that or not, you can disable it. Now some people, and I don't disagree with this, want to use the plain text component instead of rich text. There is some styling that comes along with that you have to undo. So what I like to do is there's another prop called allowed formats, and this allows you to basically say what can this person edit. So if you only wanted bold, you can just pass like you pass an array, and you could say, I think it's like core bold, and there's a bunch of these. If I refresh this now, I'm gonna update this. If I refresh this now, when I highlight my rich text, which is here, did I do that wrong? Oh, it's allowed with an ED. I'm sorry. So what should happen now is, this is showing bold, italic, links, is all this drop down stuff. It should just show bold now. Yeah. So what you can do is get rid of all that stuff. You just pass an empty array. So this basically allows you to have that inline editing and all the goodness that comes along with that without allowing your users to mess with the format if that's not your intention. This should just do that. So we have nothing in here. We can't do anything to that field. So I'm going to just pull this out now. Now we've got the title that's editable, right? So I'm going to say, wait, I'm going to refresh this first. Okay, so we've got editable title. Did I spell that? Editable. Oh my. Editable title! Exclamation point. Save it. Refresh. Great. Now we've got an editable title, and if we delete this, I wonder what happens if we delete this. Do we get the default title? We get no title. Huh. Okay, we can fix that. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense because you're setting it to an empty string. So what we'd need to do in this case is we'd need to say attribute title or test. Maybe is that going to do it? Let's take a look. Okay. Okay. So there's some sort of like I think I do it that way. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. So we just need to have some defensive programming in here. So if attributes, if the title is set, use it. Otherwise, set the default. Yeah. You can also probably do some stuff in here and check the length of it and set the attribute to the default and all that fun stuff. So yeah, there's a bit of work to probably be done there. Anyway, so we've got that working. So the next thing that we want to do is we're going to want to put in a control for the number of photos that we can do that. And so we said that we were going to put that. You know what? I'm going to move this down so now we can see this, right? And you can see already that this is like, that's why, yeah, that's exactly Mario. It's not null. That's the null coalescing operator. So if it's not null, an empty string is not null. So that's why it didn't work. You're 100% correct. Anyways, so we can see that this is already looking like way better. So compare this to, wait, let's change something here. My title. We have that, so we can see that like we have, oh, where'd it go? Oh, sorry. So we have my title and it's looking like this, and we have my title and it's looking like this. So we're very, very, very close. Oh. How do you place the static editor content with something like a query? How does the query... Hi, question for you at a time. How do you replace the static editor content with something like a query? What is the query block? That's a good question. That's a big question. Anne McCarthy just released a YouTube video on her YouTube channel that takes you through the query block. I highly recommend that you take a look at that. I can find that for you. I'm just gonna. Bear with 1 second. I'll grab that. Okay. Okay, let's see. And exploring the loop query block. Here is the one I'd recommend. I'd recommend taking a look at that one. But I think I need to understand your first question a bit more about like how you replace the static editor content with something like a query. Because yeah, I think I just need to unpack that again. So again, if you have something that you want to see, jump over to the repository for this stream series and just open an issue with the label topic request, or just open an issue and I'll see it. And we can kind of go back and forth and I can get a better sense of exactly what you're trying to do. And then I can kind of maybe plan something for a stream. A list. That's static. Oh yes, right now it's static on the edit side, but it won't be momentarily. And we're not actually saving the content. We're just displaying the content. So this is actually not being saved to the database. Let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. So if I look at this, here we go again. I'm trying to find. So the post is, and do that. Yeah. So this is the post. So we see, we look at this post content. No, sorry, my bad. How do we do that here? I don't know. Apparently, I don't know what I'm doing. You can see that, like, so this is the block that I'm building. How do you get the static list from the database, like a list of posts? Okay, we take a look at my first stream. We did a get entities, get entity records demo. That's, I think, what you're talking about. But you're going to, yeah, and that's how you're going to retrieve things from the database within the Gutenberg editor. That's probably what you're going to. This particular example doesn't actually query it doesn't query database content, which is it just doesn't, because the point of what I'm trying to do with this stream is to kind of show how you move from a shortcode to a custom block. But these are fantastic questions. Yeah, no worries about skipping ahead. That's totally fine. I don't know if I'm going to solve or answer the question that you're specifically asking about how to retrieve data from the database, because we're not actually doing that in this example. But if you look at the get entity records stream, I think it was my first stream. If it's about an hour in, maybe I did a whole demo on how to do get entity records, which would be, it's actually in here. So what you would do something like this. So we're calling get entity records. Post type is the entity. The kind of entity is a post, and then we're getting 10 of the most recent posts. So, yeah, but please, if it doesn't answer your question, drop an issue in the repo and we can go back and forth on that. Cool. Okay, so we got that. So the next thing that we want to do is, I remember I grabbed this inspector control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab an inspector controls. I'm going to do this and then stuff. So you see this thing is yelling at me like crazy. It's because React elements can only have a single element return, so you need to wrap it. This is a shorthand for the fragment, which you can get from, you can say fragment, from the element. So I'm gonna actually use that because I prefer that over the shorthand. I feel it's easier to read. Probably do that correctly. And so that all that does is just it gives React a single node, but it doesn't add any extra markup. It's like a hidden thing, right? So the inspector controls are a slot fill. So you can put these anywhere. You can put it literally anywhere inside your component. And then once that's built, once you highlight this, you see we've got this in here. So we're gonna put a panel in here. I think I did this did I do this in here? Yeah, I did. So I'm gonna grab my panel body from the components package. Yeah, I'm jumping around a fair amount. And don't need the text control. I'm just gonna grab that, and I'm gonna just steal this right here. And I'm gonna put this in here. All right, so I'm gonna put the panel. So I don't need this. That's not the control that I'm gonna use. But if you just write that, you can take a look, and it'll look a heck of a lot better now. Here you can see it's got its own little area, right? I don't know. Was it Gutenberg? I think it's a number control. Number control Gutenberg. Let's see what that is. Number control. Is that the one I want? Oh no, that's not the one. What's the slider? Is there a slider? A range control. That's what I think I want. Do I want a range control for this? Range control. Thank you, Mario. I think that's what I want, because I want to be able to say minimum of and maximum of. So I'm going to do range control. So I'm going to pull the range control. Yeah, that's what I want. Cool. All right. you can see we're going to pull range control from the components package, which is what we already have the components package here. Oops. Period. Is oh, I'm going to disable unresolved the untitled file. It's complaining because we're not actually importing any of these. And that's a whole topic for another stream. You could import, like you could add these to your dev dependencies, and it might help with sort of like discoverability and code hinting and things like that. I just didn't for this particular example. So let's see what we want. So we got label, the value, the unchanged, the min, and the max. So these are the props that we want to steal here. This. The label is not going to be columns. The label is going to be photos. And we're going to take the number here. Okay, not set columns. Set attributes, photos, new count. You can call this whatever you want. I'm just trying to be as verbose as possible. So I think the minimum that we want to have is 3, and we'll say the maximum is 12. Work? Sound good? Sounds good. Very cool. Let's see what this looks like. Where am I? Got this. Boom, boom. All right, so we've got this. So let's see. It's 10 date. So this isn't going to do anything here yet, but if we refresh this, we've got 3, 6, 9, 10. So that's working. Sweet. Okay, so the last step of the puzzle here is the last step of the journey, piece of the puzzle. Last piece of the journey. I'm going to mix all the metaphors today. Is getting this to do what it needs to do to look correct. Because it's a much better visual representation. So to do that, I'm going to come in here. I'm going to try to learn how to, I'm going to do a loop, JavaScript loop. I'm going to do, what am I going to do this? I'm going to say const. I can never remember JS for loop. Is that what I want? I've been a developer for 17 years. I still Google this stuff. So let's see. Okay, we're gonna. Is that what I want? Gotta be a better way of doing it. Yeah, sure. Why not? Mario, I'm looking to you for help, my friend. So we're gonna say. I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here. So in here, I'm going to drop some JavaScript. Right? Does it work like this in React? Anyone? I believe you could use map. But doesn't. But I don't have an array of items. I just have a count. You know what I'm saying? Like I just have a number. Oh, missed what you were doing. Oh yeah, this will work too. Why is this yelling at me? This is yelling at me. Identifier expected. I have to literally Google for loop in React. For loop React. Let's see. Beginner's Guide to Loops in React. Here we go. Perfect. But I don't. For standards. Oh, okay. Just create a function to do it. You might have to return an array here. Yeah. I wonder if I did this wrong. I wonder if I should have not made it a number. No, that makes sense. Okay. Well, I'm going to steal this function. Be a function. plunk it in up here. So I'm going to say render photos. Oh my God. And this is going to be the count. Right. And then I'm going to do, this is exactly what I'm, okay. And then I'm going to say, this is going to yell at me because you're not supposed to use keys. You're not supposed to use like, I may have set this up not right. I don't want one of these. I actually want this whole thing. I want to push all of that. And I'm going to use I. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I don't know why it's doing that. It's getting me here. Random, cool. What the hell am I doing wrong here? This is ridiculous. Is it, yeah, I probably think you're right. I'm totally doing this incorrectly. Okay, I need to do 4. What? That's unbelievable that it did that. Let's see what that does. That's crazy. Okay, so photo. Okay, so the source is going to be photo URL. Be backticks, and then have I said how much I love Copilot? It just saved me from looking like a complete idiot. Well, maybe not. Okay, so what do I got here? I got I'll get rid of that. Okay, so this is lazy else. Okay, I need those things. Need those things. Don't need them. I don't need. Is that gonna work? I don't even really need that. I just need. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Is it gonna work? People slowly drop off my stream because they're like, "What is this guy even doing?" All right. Here we go. Could you do something like array 5.keys, but there's no. Where am I here? Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's see. Any errors? What? Huh. Okay. What the hell am I doing wrong? Count photos. Oh, wait. Yeah. Yes. You're totally right. Thank you. Const photos array. What photos array dot push that, and then they return photo. Thank God someone here knows what they're doing. Okay, let's see if that works. Is that right, Mario? You tell me if that's right. I think that's right. see. Interesting. Okay, so are we missing? Oh yeah, totally missing the classes. Need this. Wrap that. That's what I need. That. Wrap that. There we go. Okay. Okay. That sounded way more surprised than I. Cool. So look at that. So now it's gonna just render as it goes, right? And so if we update this now, we'll see we've got 5. So if we run this, we go 5. Now, these images are not the same. Now, this is not because of anything that we're doing wrong here. I think this is mostly because of the. Are they not the same? Let's look. Yeah, they're not the same. It's because this service it renders random images, right? So don't need to map through an array of JSX. Oh, right, yeah. So that's pretty much it. So the last thing I wanted to do, first of all, thank you everyone for the basic JavaScript help. I do thoroughly appreciate you all. Okay, so this is our working shortcode now, right? Is it? Actually, is it? Okay, so on the block side. So what we're doing here is we're actually rendering the output directly. But so we can do it this way, which is totally valid. The other way that we could do it, go team, is that we can actually just generate the shortcode itself. I don't know. I'm not sure what the best solution is because it's a dynamic block. This is not being saved anywhere. But instead of doing it this way, what you could probably do is like go do shortcode and then take your example. What do they call this thing? Twitch example? Twitch example, I think. And do it that way. You have to. I can't remember if that was a return. Okay, so that does return. So I have to say echo. I think let's just. Yeah. I think what's going to happen here is that's going to do the same thing. Maybe it's not. Interesting. What do I call this thing? Oh, it's underscore example. That's the problem. Dope. I think that's going to work. Yeah. So that's an alternate approach. Is instead of like taking all of the actual markup and rendering it that way, you can just have the dynamic the render callback just generate the shortcode itself. Now, I think this is going to depend on what you're doing, like how complicated maybe if you have a very complicated shortcode, like the example that this whole thing came from was like a calendar, which is probably an extremely complicated shortcode that is doing a ton of work already. I don't know if the effort to refactor all of that to kind of put it in here makes sense in that case, but it really depends. So you can do it this way. And I'll just leave it in there, or you can put it in like directly, like we're talking about here. So we're actually regenerating all the markup, and that'll work both ways. So the only thing left to do, I guess, is how do we handle, like, say we want. I guess you could also just call the shortcode function directly too. Yeah, that's what I'm like. You mean this do shortcode? Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you could call where am I? You could call like this function here is what you're saying, right? Which is totally doable. Yeah, that's totally cool too. Although it may not work because it's not going to get, oh, you'd have to pass the attributes to this and do it that way. Yeah, you could do that. I think this may be a bit harder to figure out because if you have multiple namespaces, you got to know what your namespace is and everything. So it might just be easier just to use the system to work that stuff up, but that's totally not wrong. You can totally do that. 100%. Not that you need my permission to do it. Fine, you do your thing, man. Cool. Okay, so the only other thing left is what if we want to turn this into this? How do we do that? So there is a way to do it. There's this thing called transforms. Yeah. So there's different types of. So what I haven't worked with transforms a ton, but they're super powerful. Basically, you can say I want this block to be transformable into it. So the one that we're looking for here is shortcode. So let's jump down to shortcode. Just want to see what it does here. This type of transformations support the from direction, allowing blocks to be created from shortcodes, applied as part of the raw transformation process. So an existing shortcode can be transformed into its block counterpart. Oh yeah, there's one more thing that we need to do as well. So it looks okay. So the transforms doesn't go into block.json. It goes into here. Transforms. I believe that's done for backwards compatibility. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna steal basically this stuff because we're gonna work through it here together. So, transform. Oh, transform. I need a from key. From. Right. So in there, yeah, from key. Okay. Side of that, have that stuff. So the tag should be Twitch example. Right? Is that right? Hold on. Tag, shortcode tag or list of shortcode attributes is match. How does it know? How does it know what block to transfer it to? Weird. Let's see if it text. Okay, so from paragraph block, heading flag. So I don't. Okay, let's see what this does. I don't know what this is. Well, okay, so the attributes. I guess we need to update those. So where am I here? So block JSON has got two attributes. Got photos. Number. All right. Source. I'm gonna do that. Let's just see. Short code named. All right, I have no idea what this is going to do. If actually just a particular option, let's just see. If I click this, well, this just doesn't seem like it's a thing. If it pick up a shortcode key, it should be a function that. This is like concerns. Okay. I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to figure this. So maybe what we need to do is instead go from okay, direction to and from. Block declares which transformation supports via the optional transforms key. Subtext to and from will the rate of transfer for every direction, for example. Okay. A block. This type of transformation supports from and to directions, allowing blocks to be converted to a different one as a corresponding UI control. Okay, so let's try that. Block. Okay. Huh. This is so. I think we definitely want to use this. I think we want to use this shortcut. Transform section is an object that takes the from parameters. Okay. This type of transformation supports the from direction, allowing blocks to be created from shortcode. It's applied as part of the raw transformation process. Objects representing where the into the attribute. Okay. Existing shortcode can be transformed. What doesn't is does the I wonder if the block and the shortcode have to have the same tag. I wonder if that's the issue. Okay. Let's for the sake of this change the thing to what all this photo photo no, nothing gonna be called that. Oh, yes. What did I do? Oh, wonderful. Better than just absolutely breaking everything. Oh, you know what? I think I have to get rid of the transforms thing in there. I think that's the problem. I'm gonna get rid of this. Well, this is definitely something that needs some better documentation, like without a doubt, because this is not clear to me at all what I have to do. And I'm running out of time here, so that's a bummer. But the intent would be to like have this and be like, you know what, I want to convert this into a shortcode. Like I want to convert that into one of these. So I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more, and then that'll probably be it today. Let's see, this new shortcode can be transformed into its block counterpart. All right, well, I'm gonna drop all this in here. And the tag is which full. And we're gonna have photos. And then title. And number. And then let's see what the comment. Okay. And then I have no idea what that's gonna do. Let's here. Anything. I think what I'm going to do is take this offline because I don't think it's any more boring than watching me read documentation. But if anyone has any suggestions or has done this particular type of transform before, I'd love to hear more about it. What I'm going to do is just leave this part for now, and I'll figure it out, and then I'll do a follow-up blog post about this, because it. I think we need some real world examples for this. Okay, so what's next? The last thing I think we wanted to do was we wanted to be able to we had the align property, so to be able to set it wide. So to do that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to use the block supports. And we're going to use the blocks. In here we can go supports, and what we want is the alignment. In here we have align, supports align. So what we can do is align. We're gonna say align. Oops. Here what we want is all these things. Yeah, this annoying. Okay, so we're gonna go full, wide. Wide, and I think the other two are left. Okay, so we'll do that. So this should just give it this should just give us the block control to manage this. We may need to output classes. We'll see in a second. So if we grab this thing, we see we have some align left, align right, we've got align wide, we've got align full, and let's see what happens out here. So that's something's not right. Let's take a look at what's being output. I have a feeling it has to do with our classes being output. So let's just take a look here. So what we can do is I'm just going to go var dump attributes and see what gets thrown out there. So we got full. Right, okay, so then we'll go classes. So then I think we can just steal this code right here that I had. That in there. Align. And then we'll just use this. PHP echo. We're gonna always make sure to escape your stuff if you can. This is better. Classes in there. This. Oh my god, this. Okay. Spacing going on in there. Okay, cool. So now we should have all of our align stuff going on. So full. So oh, you know what? Let's put in a bunch. Just put in like, I'll update that. So it is going full width there now. So there we go. So now we've got. I'm going to get rid of this var dump. There might be a cleaner way of doing that, but dynamic blocks is editable. Blocks. Okay, thank you, Corey. Cool. So, now we've got the shortcode looking like. Sorry, we've got a block that does the same thing as a shortcode, but it looks like it's going to look on the front. with that, I think I'm gonna call it. Before I do though, anybody have any questions about anything that you saw, or comments or things that I could have done differently, better, more efficiently? I'm always happy to hear that. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to look at that transform thing and I'm going to figure it out. I use class names package for that kind of thing. Oh, I see. Yeah, you can do that for sure. On the JavaScript side, we don't really need it because block props handles a lot of that stuff, and then it becomes an attribute that just works. But if I had like classes that were built, yes, can you teach me to code? It did work. The do shortcode did work. I think it worked. Let me just get rid of this for now. And if we do that, believe, oh, yeah. The thing I need is, I need to do the align. It should work. Let me just double check this is going to work. And okay, so let's, I'm going to, yeah, okay. So yeah, it works fine. Because we're doing shortcode. Serial data that it did work. And what I would recommend is if you have a super complicated shortcode that is like tons of work to move into the render callback, just do the shortcode thing. Because otherwise it'll just copy this, do this. I'm gonna so yeah, I'm gonna just add I'm gonna leave this in the repo because just so it's there so people are aware. I'm gonna do this. This works. This works too. Okay, cool, awesome. So cool, thanks. Okay, XP1S. You know who I'm talking about. Can I teach you to code? No, you can teach yourself to code. That's how I learned. But keep coming back, and maybe you'll pick up a couple of things, or maybe you'll teach me some things. Either way, it's all good. Cool. So I think that's where I'm gonna end it. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I really appreciate it. And like I said, there is a repository associated with this this stream series, if you will, where you can post comments, you can ask for things that you want to see, or you can tell me how badly I type in front of people. All that stuff's welcome. I do upload all of these to YouTube afterwards. So I have a YouTube channel, which is the same name as this, Ryan Welcher Codes. So have a look at it. They're not edited, they're just the raw uploads. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for coming, and talk to you next time. Next week, we're going to do something else from the community. So something that somebody submitted. Cool. Awesome. All right. Thanks all. Talk to you soon.